Today we're going to be discussing how to meet new dogs. The goal of introducing two dogs is not for them to become best friends or even to really play right away. It's about creating neutrality. When dogs meet and become indifferent to one another, they have the best chance to develop a deeper and healthier relationship over time. So the first step is truly identifying if the dogs are a good fit to actually interact with one another.
Yeah, exactly. And we've created a flowchart that's going to help us assess whether the dogs are actually ready for interaction, because that's the toughest pill to swallow, is most dogs are not ready to interact with each other. But once we've identified that the dogs are a good match, we focus on building that neutrality from the very beginning. So the key here is to avoid excitement and overstimulation, which can lead to reactive or unwanted behaviors. And the goal, like all things, is calmness, indifference, not necessarily immediate friendship or play. So before we talk about how to introduce your dog to another dog, we have to talk about should we. And we have a pretty simple flow chart here that we're going to walk through. I have to ask ourselves a few questions to try to make a simple yes or no answer, simple yes or no process to kind of a complex situation. So should my dog interact with this dog? And we say this dog, meaning it could be someone on the street passing by, it could be friend or family member, but each individual dog will need to be treated as such. It's an individual case basis. So just because your dog is really good with dog A doesn't mean that they're going to be good with dogs B, C, or D. So let's start off by asking ourselves a few simple questions. The first one is my dog neutral around other dogs? So am I dealing with reactivity? Am I dealing with fear, aggression, anxiety, over arousal, over excitement? Am I trying to work on neutrality and get my dog to ignore other dogs? Am I still actively working through these behavioral issues? And if the answer is no, my dog is not neutral, I'm still working through stuff, we follow that over here very clearly to the do not interact bubble. Interaction is going to take you back in your training, it's going to take you back in your goals. Not a good idea. It's not going to do anyone any good. Plus, it could be a potentially dangerous situation. But if your dog is neutral around other dogs, and the answer is yes, we can go down here to question number 2, which is my dog responsive to my commands when aroused? And obviously, we've talked about the arousal curve. We've talked about excitement. If your dog is excited around another dog, that's one thing. Can I get my dog to communicate with me in that moment? Can I calm them back down? Will they respond to my commands? And this might take some actual introspection and being honest with yourself to keep things safe. Don't let your pride get in the way. If your dog is not responsive to your command when they're impulsive or overly aroused, the answer is no. Go over here to the do not interact bubble. Not a good idea. Now, if the answer is yes, my dog gets excited, but I can calm them back down, my dog still listens to me, awesome. You go down here to question number 3, which is, does the other dog seem stable or have an off switch? So not every dog you encounter is going to be a graduate of Ivy League Canine Academy with all these skills and commands and the owners know everything. So if they've been through formal training, awesome. Ask them that, be aware of that, ask them to demonstrate that, put the dog in the sit and the down, let the dogs chill out. We'll talk more about the how here in a second, but that off switch, if they don't have the training, give them an assessment. Give the owner an assessment, the dog an assessment, and you don't have to be a behavioralist to notice the dog's mohawk, like their hackles standing up, or the dog's super fixated, or really intense body language towards my dog that's making me nervous. This is a big, strong dog and like a weaker, smaller owner. All these things are context clues that, your gut is going to tell you like, oh man, this dog is making me nervous. Or, no, that dog looks relatively calm. Doesn't seem overly fixated on my dog. So you have to give the other dog an assessment and just use your best judgment. Follow your gut, and don't be afraid to advocate on your behalf if you get a weird feeling from that other dog. No problem in that at all. But if the answer is no, they don't have an off switch, you're not getting a good feeling, they don't seem stable, then do not interact. You already know the drill. Now, if they do seem stable, they have an off switch, they seem pretty calm, now we go down here to the last question, which is this dog going to be around my dog on a consistent basis? And we answer the consistency with 2 main types of consistency, which is proximity and, duration. So we have duration, I guess, is this dog going to be around my dog consistently over, a 3-month period of time? So if it's more than 3 times within 3 months, then that's somewhat consistent. We usually like to say like once a month for about 3 months in a row. So if that dog has that consistency being around your dog for that amount of time, then that checks that box. Then the other one's proximity. So it might not be for 3 months at a time I'm seeing this dog, but someone might be living with me for a weekend, or we might have to temporarily be in the same living quarters. And that's a lot of proximity. That's a lot of intensity. That's really close quarters. So in that case, if I've made it all the way through the flow chart to this point, then okay, I have to, work on getting my dog introduced to that other dog. So if we've made it through all 4 of these questions and they're all yes, then interaction makes sense and we can step into, okay, interaction makes sense. Now, how do we go about getting these dogs socialized with one another?
So once we've established that these dogs are a good fit for each other, the first step is neutrality, which is where passive socialization actually comes in. This is a very crucial phase. The dogs should be able to place near each other or even lay near each other while maintaining that position for extended periods of time. This is the calmest way to let them get to know each other. And during this stage, both dogs should be wearing their leashes and training collars. This ensures control and prevents any sudden reactions.
And by allowing them to settle calmly in each other's presence, we're reducing the chance of any wild behavior or chaotic energy. And this phase is really all about just getting the initial excitement out and giving the dogs the space to read each other's body language in a neutral, non-threatening way from a distance. And so again, it's all about neutrality, not excitement, not interaction.
So once the dogs can be calm and relaxed near each other, we can start to move to active socialization. This involves taking the dogs on structured activities like walking past each other on leash, walking next to each other, or even taking on-leash bathroom breaks together in the same vicinity. These activities allow the dogs to experience each other's presence in a more controlled environment where they're still learning how to maintain a calm, neutral state while being around one another instead of just immediately going nose to nose or nose to butt or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And then as they progress, you can start giving them just a little bit more freedom. Let them drag their leashes around them. And like when they're wearing the leashes, let it drag on the ground. And so you're still maintaining control. Use your 10-foot or even longer lines to give them that freedom, but you still have that physical tether in case you need to step in and intervene. And then that gradual increase in freedom just helps build trust between the dogs while you're still just maintaining structure and doing things in a proactive way.
As the dogs start to interact more freely and if they begin to play, it's important to introduce the play and pause method. The idea is pretty simple. Let the dogs play for 30 seconds, then call them back to you, stop the play, and have them lay down next to each other. After a minute of calm, you can allow them to play again. Repeat this process, slowly increasing the playtime to about 5 minutes of freedom as they learn how to engage in a balanced and controlled way. Essentially, you are just practicing flipping on that switch and then flipping it off.
Exactly. And it's so critical to always be physically there with the dogs during these interactions, and you got to be vigilant about their behavior, especially as they're getting to know each other. If either dog begins to get too over-aroused or too pushy, you got to step in and initiate that pause. Like having the dogs lay down next to each other just helps them down-regulate that nervous system, calm back down, increases the confidence between the two dogs that they have that control. And this pause just helps prevent the play from becoming like too intrusive or too intense and then just getting a little out of control.
And remember, you need to ensure that you have the ability to actually stop the interaction and bring the dogs back to a calm state whenever necessary. The human's role here is crucial. Neutrality and structure are the keys to managing these interactions and ensuring the dogs are learning the right way to socialize and ensuring that we're keeping everything safe.
And so to recap, when you're introducing the two dogs, the goal is never for them to immediately play or become best friends, or like Maddie said, go nose to nose and sniff each other. The goal is to establish neutrality and calmness from a reasonable distance, and then start with that passive socialization, by having the dogs near each other in a calm, controlled manner. Use your leashes, use your collars, use your muzzles if that's applicable, and then move to a little bit of active socialization with activities like walking past each other in bathroom breaks. And you can lead it to more freedom, but those active socialization drills are not direct interaction either. It's just getting movement in around each other. And then as you start to work on interaction, if the play and pause method is appropriate, then institute that. But just make sure that you have the ability to control the situation by stepping in if things get a little bit too intense.
By following these steps consistently and with patience, you'll be helping your dogs build a positive relationship based on mutual respect and understanding. And the interaction will feel a lot more natural for both dogs. With time, they'll learn how to actually enjoy each other's company in a controlled and calm way.
Good luck, and we'll see you in the next video.